Hello, everybody. Wow, do we have some interesting news? Part two of this current celebration. We have Jiren's Easy A. Wow, SDR Jiren. So, this is the reason why they jumped back into Tournament of Power. Would have thought there'd be a slightly more hype unit to go alongside him, but sure, yes. He's good for various other ones, and also in this particular campaign, we also have Easy A's for Frost, we also have Easy A's for Boda Magetta, and also for the Beerus, Champa. So we have Champa. We'll start with, of course, Jiren. So this is good. So there's a lot to do. So he has a good leader skill, and he's going to be useful on a very specific team, and that is Universe 11. Before we check him out, so this is Universe 11. Now he is both. He is a tournament to power lead, right? So that's what he is. Now, of course, his perfect partner is, of course, going to be full power Jiren. There's absolutely no doubt. When it comes to be buffed by one of the topos, this one in particular who gives support is going to be really, really good, right? So it still needs improvement, still one of the worst categories going. But like I say, alongside this guy who has no doubt brought this guy better into contention, then yes. And you'll be able to use him on either leader skill. He is a Tournament of Power and I think Universe 11, or at least very, very much Universe 11, 170%. So again, could be very good. So let's see what Jiren actually does. Now, he has a lot of hype going behind him. Because, of course, when he came out, those many, many moons ago at 2018, believe it or not, we are touching like 7 years ago. Anyway, so yes, Universal Survival Saga is a full 170%, and STR is now super, or STR in general is 3 key 120%. So, of course, you can run that for Battlefield because it's in general STR type, not just super or extreme. So let's have a look. 2 key 200% to stats and a 30% chance of stunning all enemies at the start of turn. What that means is at the start of every rotation, he has a 30% chance of stunning all enemies flat out before he attacks. It's kind of like the overwhelming immense power he has, as well as kind of something similar to I think it's Cumber who has that. But yes, 200%. Coming in at 55%, we are at 10,000 defense, 15,000 attack. Not the best of health, but it's fine. But yeah, no, 200% of these stats, he's going to look well. If you have him at 69%, 11,500, we're talking like premium dock, and we're talking like the high end Dock and Fest exclusives, right? We're talking Turlers, we're talking 8th anniversary units. Right, we're talking Bardock, Tech Bardock, and there's a lot of attack. Should you have him at Rainbow? 12.8 thousand. An insane amount of attack, actually, almost 19,000. My guy himself is sitting at 90%, and I've got the LR at 100%. So mine at 90% will be rocking this. So I'll be curious to know how they stack side by side. But but in respects, yes. I mean, it's fair to say that everyone's got probably at least a dupe, right? So you're probably rocking decent stats. So let's have a look. Attacks effective against all types when facing only one enemy from the start of your turn, so it's not as if it can flex, but fine against one enemy, so that's nice. Reduces damage received by 30% when facing two or more enemies. So this bit here, the stun all enemies, with the 30% damage reduction, it's Super Battle Road to a T. He could help out in TOP and Universe 11 because it's really difficult because of the caliber of people you've got on there. You get an additional 50% to stats and a 50% chance to stun on super attack. Hell, that's not even a super attack effect, of which still greatly raises attack and defense. What did he do? He just lowered defense. Now he greatly raises, which is a 50% buff, of which you're getting another 50% buff with a 50% chance to stun. Dude, that's insane. So I can see additionals being the way. You're guaranteed crits when the enemy is stunned. So if you did do additionals, right, then of course, so you could proc this, and then if this did proc, or you had your additionals like with this procced in, then every other attack thereon would be good. That was good for normals. You get an additional 111% to stats. That'll be a Universe 11, and performs a guaranteed crit when there is a Universal Survival Saga or Tournament Participants category enemy. I mean, this is kind of the same thing, except it would also count for DB Saga. That's basically it, or I suppose Margin Boot Saga. So This is nice, I suppose. That there might be several docking events that'll come around where that might just come in handy. I'm not into. Should we say Fighting Legend Goku would be pretty good if you rock him on that. But yeah, so huge. I mean, this is really good. I think the best thing is he's set up for Super Battle Road and some tough events, in particular when you're doing this, right? Because you get the extra damage reduction, of which you get 50%, high 50% chance to stun. You get 50% here as well. This would imply that he actually lowers the enemy defense, meaning the next attack just hits harder and harder. So he's really well built. I'm looking forward to seeing what this does together, as well as having like a really strong team, of course. There is various 200% teams which you might be able to squeeze him on. At the very least, it's a 170, right? Of course, we're rocking Cold Judgment, Shocking Speed, Infighter, Hero of Justice, Godly Power, Tournament of Power, and Fierce Battle. Interesting how he's Godly Power, because I mean, he's on Realm of Gods because he's that powerful, but of course, it's weird because he's nothing related to gods at all. He's just as powerful as like Beerus and whatever. So in particular, we're looking at like the tournament participants, sure, Universe 11 and Defenders of Justice. So when I say we check out like Universe 11, and yeah, he probably is the top dog. This talk about a forgotten category, this is it. Probably the worst category by now, even with Jiren and even with LR Jiren having some life brought back in. It's not great, is it? But again, you wouldn't really run Universe 11, you just run TOP. So, of course, Universal Survival Saga could be a really good one. So he's brought back into contention. There are a few such as like, the Fierce Battle and Tournament of Power should help anyway. The three key in that is a linchpin between them all. So, of course, we do have full power Jiren. So, of course, we are getting all of these except for Legendary Power and Cold Judgment. But we're still getting key in stats, and we're still getting key in stats as well as plenty of attack. So, a little bit better here and there. So that's really good. So the links at them at level 10 the higher they are, the better, just to eke out the extra stats, right? So that's nice. I mean, you get 3 key period with this link, so that's really good. So obviously that's his best friend. And of course, every other Universe 11, right? They're going to be more or less the same sort of deal. Hit apparently is a good one. That's probably because we got Cold Judgment, Shocking Speed, and Torment of Power, which altogether would give nearly 40% to stats, right? Especially 40% to defense, maybe just over 10% stats. Of which, if you had, that could be really good for TOP in general, right? Because this guy can stun, and this guy can stun in multiple situations, right? Yeah, he can stun just by appearing. He can stun just on his just on attack. So, that's pretty good. What else have we got? A good support for Universe 11. Isn't he like a 40% support and gives 1 key? And he could be really good. Again, Super STR, Universe 11. We're looking pretty good there. Probably a good one to run is having him as in general as the lead, right? But then again, he's also Rep 7. So, like either or would be a sufficient lead. Also, Super STR. This one's Extreme STR. But as I say, you could rock some sort of an STR build for, also Super STR and Tournament of Power. It's becoming something like Tournament STR. Whether or not you'd use them, but yeah, they have an easy A, right? Oh no, it's the int. But still, Super STR, Tournament of Power, right? It's pretty insane. So really, really well built. Has his own easy A. It's only just come out now, so fantastic. Get to grinding. But yeah, well, it's not the only one. We also now have Frost Full Power, and his is the sub easy A for hit. So again, no stones in this, except for maybe a couple of missions, right? But yeah, get through it. And of course, Boda Megiddo, I'm afraid, is also using hits. It's easy A, so it's a sub easy A. So you have to do it all over twice. I'm afraid. Just get to it, but I'm afraid that's it. Of course, so we have int type 3 key 100%. So that's good for Battlefield, right? So again, you can rock that. Stage 1, Stage 2 is usually good. Stage 3, you probably want to start using category leads. Think about it. So what do these guys do? Well, what did they do prior? So they had a little bit of guard, but okay, fine. Now they do a lot more, which is pretty interesting. And again, these are a 7-year-old unit, right? So we're talking 3 key, 160% of stats. What did they have prior? 100%. So they had something. Now we're talking 60% more. Yeah, an additional defense only, 10% per Universe 6. So that would pin them to Universe 6 up to 60%. Okay, so now suddenly this is looking good. You guard all attacks when there is another Universe 6 ally in the same turn, as well as 80% HP or less. Right, okay, so fine. So you straight away, okay, either or. So guard is nice. 30% chance to do an additional super attack and additional attack and defense, 60% for 3 turns after receiving an attack. So they want you to be in slot 1, so you can get this and also have the guard to complement. And if you use them correctly, I suppose you'd have 220% defense, which is interesting. For a unit, okay, here we go. So you greatly greatly raise attack for the turn, okay, and you build up defense by 30% for 6 turns. So that's 3 rotations. So that's a 90%. That's all that is. It's just 90% that's what you get fully built up. So, it fully built up with the guard. That might just work out. What are their stats? Because that's kind of got to be what it is. So 55%. Oh dear. That's just not good. Hell, Rainbow's only 10,000. Dude, that's not good enough. They must. This is really knocking back the unit. Coming in at 55%, you're rocking 7,000. That's really, really terrible. 69% is a little better, closer to 9,000. Attack is fine. But 100%, that's just terrible. This is what it should be at 55%. Okay, so here's the problem. He's going to be useful in some situation, but when the going gets tough, he's going to fail, right? In some like extreme super battle road, you're just not going to run this guy. And in regular super battle road, if there's multiple enemies, guard is not going to save your life. You could have the extra 90% from your super attack. You can have this up to 220% for your defense. It's going to do nothing. You are literally you're going to struggle. I mean, it seems like a lot because you got this, you got guard, you got this, and you got this. So let's do a gameplay and let's see how he works out, right? Because I feel like this is going to be a bit of a love and hate. I mean, he's old, so are people going to have a couple of dupes? Yeah, possibly. There's a really good chance. It's not as if his Easy A is terrible. This all seems great. It's just his stats let him down. His start of turn stats are going to be really poor. It remains to be seen. Okay, so we're talking tough as nails, Infighter, more than meets the eye, solid support, tournament of power, Universe 6, and fierce battle. So solid support, more than meets the eye, Infighter, tough as nails. The entire top row you're going to really, really struggle to find people with that. Of course, TOP, Join Forces, Universe 6, tournament participants, and Revenge. Revenge against Vegeta. This guy just does not like insults, right? So, this unit is brand new. Are you going to have him? Well, if you summon for 17 and 18, and you shouldn't have done past maybe the 1 or 2 discounts, right? The 1 or 2 discounted ones, then you might have him. Are they any good? Oh, hell no, they are not. They are totally useless. This is the next unit that there is because of the links. Find a team for them. Join forces, right? And super int. Are you going to run them in any way possible outside of Battlefield? Would you even run them in Battlefield? Do you even have this LR? It's a yellow coin. Step up banner is about the only way you got these. No, you ain't going to run them. And on Join Forces, they're both not going to be runnable on Join Forces. So we're looking at Universe 6. So Kale, okay, solid support, right? But that's the only thing in. But do you know what? You wouldn't run him. Do you know why? They already have a solid team by Kale for Universe 6. Hit 170% for TOP in Universe 6. Fine, yeah. So you can get Infighter in there. So that's something. So they might work well together. But the U6 girls are generally better off. Again, it's because of Tough as Nails. In fact, the links is what's making Piccolo and Red Zone Goku really good, right? You're just not gonna. This just isn't gonna be a good team to put them on. Uh, it's just they're just terrible. They just are. It. I think the worst thing going for them, outside of their start of turn stats, is just who you're gonna run them with. There'll be a floater in any team for which you want them in slot one because apparently they need to receive an attack. Okay, so it's for 3 turns, so I suppose you could duck and weave, right? But if you let them have a hit and then float them off, you just basically just lost 2 turns. So it's one of them, isn't it? It seems great, but there's not a lot of use. Okay, so Frost, Frost of course sub easy A for hit, so that's a shame. STR looks like it's 100% across the board and 3 key, so again, stage 1 and 2 of Battlefield for a lead could be usable. So what did this guy do? So we had... I only had stats on super attack, and his super attack did nothing. So what does he do now? That doesn't look especially great, but let's have a look. So you get 3 key, additional attack, 50% chance to super, 50% chance to crit. Okay, that's actually quite nice, of which greatly raises attack and defense. Okay, so you are getting, for the first 6 turns, that's 3 rotations, you are getting a chance for this and a chance to crit. So already, that's actually really good. 160% to stats. I like that. An additional 180% attack, 120% defense, and a 50% chance to stun. Actually, this guy's good. No, seriously, because you have start of turn stats, you have 50% chance to do an additional super attack, of which on super attack you have a chance to stun the enemy and crit, as well as greatly raising. So that's additionals all the way, right? So it's weird because this is super attack effect, but it's in a passive. But as I say, if you did an additional super, because again, chance to stun, then you get a double one of this with a 50% chance to crit. That's actually really good. Really simple, but really good. What are we talking at for stats? Coming in at 55%. Oh, god damn it. Oh, there's no guard for this fella, but again, at least you can float him off, right? He's not slot 1. He definitely is a middle and second and third slot, right? Because he has actually a surprising amount of use. The fact that he can stun the enemy, that's pretty good. Respectable attack, actually, and greatly raising that is actually really good. Coming in at Rainbow, 10,000. Actually, he's attack is actually fairly decent. But yeah. So coming in with Universe Most Malevolent, Metamorphosis, and some other stuff is the reason why you're seeing some Wicked Bloodline on this, but he's not on Wicked Bloodline. So you'd have to run him on Transformation Boost in particular to get it, because he's a Transformation Boost. So you'd have to rock him, but you could legitimately get something, because you are going to get Metamorphosis and, Fierce Battle, which is a really good link for them. So again, you can actually run that on this. It's not as if the coolers and the freezers are going to struggle. This guy is in the same Tournament of Power bracket. So again, you could actually make a case that this guy's got more. Again, we'll struggle with start of turn stats. Yes, this is nice, and if you stun the enemy where applicable, you're probably covered, and you could probably cover yourself for some dangerous opponents, especially like AGL, right? So that's fine. So assuming that all goes well, he does seem pretty decent. The teams is more respectable. He has more use because of his stun, and of course he can fit into Wicked Bloodline just a little bit better, so he's not going to hold you back. So there is some hope. In terms of Frost, he probably is going to be the best one there. In fact, in terms of Universe 6, not only is he the best Frost, but legitimately, he might just be one of the better units going. For sure, he's better than this entire bottom row. Hits better, yes. We don't know what this Champa does, but this top line, actually, he's probably better than most this line, except for the LR and Kale, right? His chance to stun, his extra stats, actually, this chance to do additionals might just work out that he is legitimately one of the better ones, which is pretty insane, right? I don't think there's a summonable. No, yeah, no, they're all no free to play SA. So there you go. So get to grinding with hits easy A. That's going to be something. But hey, you can get 30 stones from this one, right? And then lastly, we have Champa, who is another hit sub easy A. So oof, yeah, get to grinding, people, because hit is gonna hate that one, right? It's not as if you're gonna get stones for doing it. And the mission rewards, they're just not going to be great, and we're going to end up rinsing this a few times. Come on. Anyway, what did Champa do prior? He had absolutely no stats. Wow, this is insane. 2016, this guy, because he came out when there was the Universe 6 versus Universe 7. Wow, was there seriously 2 years between that and the TOP? That's mad, isn't it? To be fair, we had the copy Vegeta and the Black Saga, so fair enough. So defense 160%, no attack, okay, but you get 120% on attack. You do 30% defense for the turn. So it's just defense. Give him defense. Let's just show everything up. Okay. Universe 6, 2 key 40% to stats. I like that, which means he has a full solid place. It goes up to he gets an additional 20% to stats when 60% or less. Okay. By the way, there's his attack. 20%. Here's his attack. 50% chance to 400% attack. 30% chance to 600% attack. Right, do these stack? So do you have a 30% chance to do 1,000%? And a 15% chance to crit? What's that about? When was the last time we saw rare? That's only 15%. That is so stupid. So we have a 30% chance to do 1,000%. If that hits, what's his stats? 12. That's actually fairly respectable. Coming in at even 100, even 69%. 1,000%. Wow, that's... Well, it's not quite, is it? Because it's 400% plus 600% on top of that. So if anything, it's actually more. It's more than 1,000%. But still, that's insane. And of course, it's not as if you get any attack in here as well. Well, mind you, it's not as if you actually need it. Wow, that's weird. Because he's a fantastic support, 2 key 40%. And because he does have quite a bit more defense going for him, start of turn stats, we are at better start of turn stats. Nothing special, but better. So after a couple of dupes, you are better than Bota and Frost. So that is something. So he legitimately has use. So in the Universe 6, he does have a pretty decent one. So he's a 130%, but outside of that, if you rock any of the rest, he can help proc the rest. So that's pretty good. It's going to be difficult to do a video showcase, maybe long events, because you've got to have chance for this to proc, and his attack stats are going to wildly range between links, supports, whether you get this or whether you get this. So basically, it's like 1 in 3's probably got this. I know it's 50-50, but it's probably more like 1 in 3. But this would be like 1 in 6, 1 in 7, right? At best. So long events might be, you'll just see like, you'll have like a 4 million attack stat, and then suddenly you'll have like a 10 million attack stat. I kid you not. If both of these proc together, the dude's going to be one of the hardest hitting units, period. It's because that's just what he's going to do. But yeah, so there is a lot to do. We have the most anticipated and quite frankly, well designed Jiren. Makes this a little better. We have Frost, we have Boda Megiddo, who are absolute ass. But of course, well, no, they're not. It's just the teams and links are pretty bad. I mean, yeah, they have their uses. And then Champa, which appears to be somewhat respectable. So yeah, not bad, not badly done. Anyway, Jiren is out. So thank you very much for watching, and